like Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayya said, there's certain people that have jobs that are it's very difficult to pray Dhuhr and Asr. And so he said it's a rukhsa, to do that. However, I was a critical care nurse, working in, an intensive care unit. And, I prayed, I had the 3 to 11 shift. So I had Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. And I always prayed them on time. So, and I think that's about as intense a job as you're going to get with, so I just don't buy it when people tell me, I have this job and I can't. It's usually they're ashamed and it's hard for them to openly pray or something like that. It's like the guy in the janitor's room who goes and prays, and when the janitor opens up, he starts doing the push-ups. I mean, people should be ashamed not to pray. Yeah. I mean, I used to pray years ago, because we went to college together. I'd pray right out in the open on the college campus. I had a Christian come up to me once and said, watching you pray your prayer, it's really given that, I don't know why Christians are so ashamed not to pray in public. Like, he was encouraged by it, so. I mean, if prayer comes, I've prayed on the side of the road, on the freeway. My wife was with me once. Asr time was getting into that daruri time, and I pulled over, and it was like one of those really heavy freeways. And I started praying, and this cop stops. "Sir, what are you doing?" I thought he was going to shoot me. I was thinking, I'll be a martyr for Asr prayer. But I mean, I was literally in ruku. "Sir, are you all right? Are you?" So when I finished the prayer, I went over there and just told him I had to pray, and because the sun, if it goes down, I lose my prayer. And he said, "Well, you can't do it here, Yeah. So, but prayer times, just to give you the enormity of losing a prayer time, in Maliki fiqh, if you believe that you will miss a prayer by going to Hajj, Hajj is not an obligation. And that's mentioned in all the Maliki books of fiqh in Bab al-Hajj. If you think you'll miss one prayer, and you have ghalib al-dhan, the high probability, then the Hajj is not an obligation. So that just tells you how important the prayer time is. Airplanes. I mean, it's a problem, generally, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can do it based on the hadith about the prayer time. The Prophet ﷺ said towards the end of time, a week would be like a day, and a day would be like an hour. And the Prophet ﷺ said, how should we pray? Should we pray in the normal time? He said, فَقْدُرُوا لَهُ. Estimate it. Now, if you're traveling on a jet plane, a day can be like an hour. The prayer times, if you're going towards the east, they really shorten up. So there's 2 ways that you can do it. One is to do it based on your point of departure and pray the times of the points of departure, right? And the other is to just hasten the prayer times up. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll give you an example. If you're going over the Great Circle route over the north, Isha, Fajr just comes it comes so fast. And you can lose it really quick because the sun rises also. So unless you're really hyper vigilant, like I've missed Fajr, because I've done that flight many times. unless you're really hyper vigilant, you can do it. So it's a problem. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I have arrived at Heathrow. It gets in about 7 a.m, that flight, and it's hard to pray sometimes because you fall asleep and then you wake up and you're preparing to land. So, prayers make it a problem. I'd like to see travel going back to trains and boats. It's a more civilized way of traveling. Mm-hmm.
Going back to Fajr and Subh, I don't understand, when is the Subh? Is it after the Shuruk, and is it equivalent to a qada of Fajr?
No, Subh. Fajr is the phenomenon, the break of dawn. Subh is the morning. The Fajr prayer is what we call Raghiba. It's higher than a Sunnah, lower than Mu'akkada in Maliki. He's the only Imam that has Raghiba. It's not Sunnah Mu'akkada, but it's not a Nafila either. It's higher. And that's the two prayers that you pray once the first light has shown up in dawn. That's called Fajr prayer. But we also, Urfan, just conventionally, we call the Subh prayer Fajr prayer. Have you prayed Fajr? And they mean the Fard. In technical vocabulary, it's not really accurate. It's like calling the Nafila Sunnah. It's the same thing. But these are just, Ammat al-Nas, general people use these terms differently from the way the Fuqaha use them. So Subh prayer is the Fard prayer in the morning before the sun rises. If the disk has shown up on the horizon, then the Subh time is now gone. And you have to pray qada. And I'm going to get into qada when I get into the prayers. Okay? But I'm saying, in the Maliki madhab, qada is very generous. Ada. He gives you a lot of room to pray ada. Alright? Mm-hmm. Anything else? Somebody had a question? Yeah.
Just to clarify the first thing, if I'm leaving from Newark to Dubai,
Mm-hmm.
should I just pray according to Newark's time using the Newark clock?
What I do generally, if I'm worried about it, is I do it that way, and then I make up the prayers later. Yeah, just ihtiyatan. Yeah, if I think I'm going to miss it, I pray the prayer according to the time I left. So I do Maghrib, I do Isha, right? And then later, I'll do, when you're going back west, it's nice. Cause then there's like 20 hours between Dhuhr and Fajr, But when you're going the other way, it's hard. So if I wake up, I wake up. If I don't, then I pray it on my point of origin's time.
But regardless of what you see outside your window, plane,
no, if you see the light, you can pray. Yeah, because these are asbab. It's a sabab. Once you see that Fajr light, it's Fajr. It doesn't matter if it took an hour to get that between Isha and Fajr. Yeah, it's a sabab to enter into the prayer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Plane time is the only problem that I found. It definitely creates a problem.
As a Maliki traveler, when you read the Zaman Asr, you get together and walk to Mushtar.
It depends. I mean, we're gonna get to that. But when you can have Jam'u Taqdeem, which is to bring the Asr forward to the Dhuhr time, or you can have Jam'u Ta'khir, and that depends on where you are and where you'll be, and if you're in sayr or not, if you're actually in movement. Because unlike Shafi'i has Jam'u al-Mutlaq. If you're traveling, you can join prayers irrespective of movement. Maliki stipulates movement to join. You can't join once you've alighted in a hotel or you're at a house and you're going to stay there for a day. You can't join. Shafi'i you can. Maliki you can't. Maliki stipulates that you're actually in movement. That the bringing the prayer forward or delaying it is a rukhsa due to the difficulty of movement. Now you can do waqt mushtarak though, if you wanted. if you're staying at somebody's house, if you want. And now with the iPray and stuff, you can get the times accurately, and you've got your watch, you can do that. Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayya is more lenient on that because of modern travel, that it's actually harder in a lot of ways than earlier travel. I've done both, because I've done pre-modern travel. When I was in West Africa, I traveled pre-modern. I walked, 45 miles. I've rode camel. I did traditional traveling, so I know the difference. And I actually think in a lot of ways the modern travel is more, it's just harder. I think it's actually harder on your body in some ways. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. No. You would have, if you're going to get there after Isha time, and that's ghalib al-dhan, the high probability. You could have a flat tire, a lot of things can happen. But all that aside, you can join, if I'm here in Pearlstone and I'm going to Adams Center and it's mid-dhuhr time and I have a stop on the way and I know I'm going to get there after Asr or in the daruri time of Asr, then I can bring Asr forward. But if my ghalib al-dhan, right, what I think most likely will happen is I will get to Adams at the beginning of Asr time, then according to Malik, you should not join. You should pray the Asr there. Even if it's 2 rakats, you could still be traveling, but you should pray the 2 rakats. My experience with modern travel, I tend to incline towards Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayya's position. If you're in that, the Shafi'i madhab rukhsa is, it's definitely tatabbu' rukhsa, but my experience is it's easy to miss your prayers. We don't have masajid everywhere. There's just a lot of variables, and so I tend to be more personally lenient on that position. And I know a lot of Hanafis that do that as well, because in the end they're valid opinions, and the most